What's going on, traders? Yes, you made it, the one and only. Smash that thumbs up. Let's get this party started. Hit the share. Let everybody know live trading with Benzinga is getting started right now.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Those words have been dancing around my head all night. Oh, it's Vegas law, that phrase.
Kiana.
Fisher.
Joy.
Joe. Cards drawn are the past, ones to come are future.
And the best part? It's beatable.
Money, 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 money. That's why they call me Money Mitch. Let's go ahead and bring on the rest of the crew here. We got Ryan in the house. You already know. I saw him get his flex on nice and early. So that's the way we get it started. Let's bring on my man. Oh, look, the flex.
No.
Got to be quicker than that.
How we doing, guys?
Real good, actually.
Hey.
Real good? Good. Before we get into the markets and the stonks and the trading and all that stuff, I want to take a quick second and tell you about the sponsor of today's show. We're going to have a quick side note conversation about this. VinoVest. VinoVest. Today's show is brought to you by VinoVest. What is VinoVest? You're probably asking. I'm going to tell you. They are an investment platform that is democratizing access to fine wine. Wine, yes, this is an asset class that has actually outperformed the S&P 500 over the last 2 decades with double-digit annualized returns. It's got a low correlation to stocks, which I know we're all after in some respects in our portfolio. It's got a hedge against inflation. Yes, inflation hedging assets. They're important. We are in an inflationary environment. So go to vinovest.co. That's vinovest.co right now. Speak to one of their advisors. Find out how you can get access to this asset class. I bring it up also because I know that Ryan Faloona fancies himself a bit of a wine connoisseur. Do you not?
I do. I will say VinoVest is actually really, really interesting to me. I didn't even think about the hedge against inflation, but that's a good point. My issue is that I just absolutely love wine for what it is, that I'm not very good at investing in it. I'm so much better at drinking it. So what I did was I brought on 2 of my favorite bottles here. This one is going to be an Artemis Cabernet from the Stag's Leap Distillery. I would imagine that Stag's Leap are going to be a number of different wines that you're going to be able to invest in. This is my favorite winery in California right now. They make a whole bunch of different ones. Here's another one that I got. This is a Jordan Cabernet. This is from the Alexander Valley. This is a little bit different than Napa. Both of these are excellent. They're both 2016. The grapes in 2016 were so much better than they were in 2017 and 2018, and from what I've tried now in 2019. So I'm going to try to invest eventually, but for right now, I'm just enjoying the wine for what it is. Too much to be putting it away for a number of years.
Yeah, I'm probably not the person to ask because I like pretty much all wine. Like there are very few wines that I don't like, so I'm probably not because I'll drink it all. I'll drink the reds, the whites, the dries, the sweets, desserts, the rosés, whatever. I like all of it.
And you know what? I'm actually getting into whites now. It turns out that a nice crisp white wine in the summer is actually very, very delightful. The heavier reds are more for like nighttime, fall, winter. So I'm with you there, Spence.
Okay.
Wine is the best.
We got some wine people in the chat. Drop a one if you're a wine gal or guy. And wine.
The only thing I know is look for the legs, right? The legs.
Yeah.
Swirl it around.
Little swirl, look for the legs.
You know, one of the things that there's a lot of back and forth on that. A lot of times people say that that's just how dirty your glass is. Will depend on how those drips actually form down the glass. To me, there's nothing better than the nose of the wine. And the more it breathes, then you go ahead and taste it.
Rieslings are our favorite of mine as well, Hex Pony. Rieslings are a favorite of mine. So you can invest in wine again, vinovest.co. All right, let's get to the markets. We all have some things that are on our watch list today. We should all be sharing our screens, which we are not. One, I see Mitch is here, but let's share our screens to get those going. I guess we'll start with Mitch because his screen is up now. Mitch, what's on your radar here today?
Well, first things first, I'm going to point out that we've been fighting to get above 453 on the SPY. We'll see if we get above that level. We're pushing right now in pre-market, multiple highs in the same area. Let's see what happens in the SPY right at the open. It's going to be very important for me if we get a wash down or a quick breakout. That's what I'll be looking. Some stocks that I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching Penn for another leg up. I love how it's gone sideways for about 2 or 3 days now. Let's see if it comes up and breaks through 84 today, makes a move on up there. I'll be looking for a move up to 87 on that. And of course, Lucid, what's going to happen today? I know a lot of people in the chat talking about this. It's gone up in pre-market, but if you really look on the hourly, we have some big resistance that we need to get over. This 1837 fighting hard. If it rejects there one more time, I think we're going to get a hard pull down to an hourly support, which is 1764. I'll be looking for that to break down and come back down towards 1624, maybe get a dip buy after an hour.
All right, Ryan Faloona, what's on your radar here today?
All right. So number one, we just got a question here. If I could share my flexible grid setup, Spencer, I'm not sure how to actually post that link in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and Slack this to you. Please do the needful for me. As far as the stocks that I'm actually watching today, let me find your name in Slack. Boy, we got a lot of people here. As far as the name that I'm actually watching today, much like Mitch, I'm going to be watching the S&P 500. One of the things that we've been kind of looking at is the possibility of the S&P 500 going to 5,000 or the SPY. Going to 500 before the year's end. And we're only 47 points away. We really seem like we need to pull back. Everyone seems to know that, so we're probably not going to pull back. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up kind of trading up closer to that 500. It seemed crazy when we first suggested it, but now every day it seems more and more likely. As far as the individual stocks that I'm going to be looking at, big one here is Chewy. They, of course, missed on earnings yesterday. They really kind of held in the 77 level. I want to see how it trades today because when I look at the daily chart, I got a spot that I really kind of want to enter at 75. This has been really good support and resistance going back to last year. So I think if we trade down to this area, this is worth a swing long opportunity. I want to see how it trades today. I don't want to jump the gun and get in there too early. Otherwise, I'm going to look for some range breaks off of my movers and scanners tool.
All right. And I mentioned this on pre-market prep just now, but I am looking at a firm today. It has stopped going up for the moment. I don't know how many times you've seen that same pattern where a stock gaps up, pauses for breath, and then keeps on going. I was feeling the FOMO a couple of days ago, and so I like the fact. Let's pull up a better chart here. So I'm liking the fact that it has paused for a moment. So that's on my radar. I'm also watching to see how many of these earnings gains hold or these earnings losers come back at the open here today. Also watching some stocks that are reporting earnings tonight, looking at you Broadcom, looking at you DocuSign. DocuSign has a very, very, very low bar. I said the same thing about Zoom. So watching DocuSign ahead of what will most assuredly be a important earnings report for them. The bar is low. Will they warn about slowing growth as every other stay-at-home play has done? Or will they not? Let's zoom out on that daily. DocuSign is actually amazingly held up this entire time. So watching Docu today into their report tonight. Those are just a few. I'm watching, as much as I can. But those are just a few stocks on my radar. Let's go to the movers tool, see what's up, what's down this morning. We've mentioned a bunch of these on pre-market prep just now. Did not mention American Eagle. AEO is among your biggest losers. They had earnings this morning. Wow, one of the few. Seemed like for a minute there, every single mall-based retailer was trading higher. And American Eagle, maybe the bar was higher for them, but their earnings beat. Their sales came in a little bit light. That could explain it. But American Eagle trading down almost 12.5% today on their earnings report. So watching that on the loser board, on the winner board, we talked about Asana, GSM. I don't know what's going on with this one. If anyone in chat knows, help me out. But it is my top gainer today. GSM up 12.3%. And then GSAT, this is from a couple days ago. And GSAT, it had that huge pop. Let's pull up that chart. It had that huge pop. Was it Monday? Pretty sure it's Monday. Yeah, the huge pop
That
up.
was the Apple story, right?
That was the Apple. It wasn't even. It was a report from an analyst that Apple could be using Globalstar satellites in its next iPhone, and then you had a few people come out and say, "Nah, they're not going to be doing that." So was there a headline this morning? It looks like they got a payment from a customer for $37.5 million, and they're going to use proceeds of that to pay down some debt. Okay. Anyway, the stock's up 11% this morning on that headline. So watching GSAT as well.
You know, I noticed in the chat here we had two more charge points. CHPT. This is another stock that I'm watching today. I'm not in a rush to buy this. I actually really want to see how it does. I'm encouraged that they're trading up after better than expected Q2 sales results. Let's see if it holds, right? That's kind of what I'm waiting for. Some of these EV related stocks have produced good news and then really kind of given it back in the same day. I want to see if ChargePoint kind of holds its gains today. And then Matt is asking about thoughts on BBIG. I'll be honest with you. I'm not one of the guys that's knocking down the doors to try and trade this. I actually don't really care much for this management company. I don't believe in the stock. I don't believe in the company, so I would not want to own it. That being said, when you look at some of the intraday charts, that attitude is very dismissive for day trades, as there are a number of opportunities to trade this stock here. The way that I would say is just be really careful. Know what you own here. I don't believe the thoughts and rumors that this is all of a sudden going to go from 8 to 20. I just don't think that's going to be the case. I think that we're going to be back down right around 4 or 5 in the near future here. So plan accordingly.
The thing about BBIG is we had Ted Farnsworth on the Power Hour, I think 2 weeks ago, and he did say by the end of August we would have a 10Q filing, and I have not seen that. Oh no, that was. I'm sorry, that was out. That was out a week ago. Okay, I guess I just missed it. So all right, the 10Q is out. But what about the proxy on there? We have a Form 8 that came out yesterday afternoon. I'm just going through the filing right now. Okay, so this looks to be what. This looks to be what
common stock at an exercise price of $9 per share.
Okay, yeah, this looks to be to some extent what we were waiting for. Okay, someone in chat who's following the story more closely. We got the 10Q, we got the 10Q last week, and we got the an offering here, not an offering. Yes, an offering. Excuse me, or exercising of warrants.
Are they exercise warrants for 6.9 million?
Right. Are they up to date with their filings, guys? Matt, since you asked about this, I thought there was a third thing we were waiting for on BBIG. We'll find out. Regardless, the story is a little bit sketch, just a little. The stock is sketch, right? Anything that goes up from 2 to 12 basically in 3 days can go from 12 to 2. I'm not saying it will, but it can. So I don't know. This is also not my cup of tea.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's just not my cup of tea either. It's I don't trust it. I don't want to own it. But there's definitely opportunity, right? There's definitely opportunity to day trade this. Just don't think that this stock is all of a sudden going to go to 50 and do all that fun stuff. I don't really think that's the case. I don't think that's in the cards here.
All right, on that one, I would look for a pullback to the 50 EMA or the 50 moving average, regular moving average. Look for that pullback. That would be down towards 650.
Someone asked about Broadcom. They report earnings tonight. Let me see if I can pull up some.
No, on Monday, we actually did talk about BGFV, but man, I hope somebody was able to nail that trade. That thing was a freaking monster in freaking, 3 days, 40%.
Mitch, I feel like you were on this from the
yeah, I was, but
earnings. Yeah,
I'm just kicking myself because I took a small gain in this one and then I stopped watching it. Then it took off.
It happens, man. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, we can't watch them all. That's the truth.
That's right.
Oh, whoa.
Here we go.
I lost track of the time.
I want to take a look at 10B, right? This was Tenable. This was a cybersecurity play that I opened up a new position on a few days ago in calls. Been going pretty well. I really think we're going to test the top of the channel here. Really not much to speak of out of the open. take a look at. So let me flip over to my scanner and see what else we got going on here. And so just as kind of a reminder, I know someone asked me about my flexible grid in Thinkorswim. The other thing is that I like to use this scan here for relative volume. So at least 1 million shares on the day, relative volume of 3, change percent of 0.2, and volume of at least 100K. We're trying to catch volume surges and things that are kind of spiking here. So check out MMAT. Looks like that's trading up a little.
Just going back to Broadcom for a second, because they do report tonight. So the expected move is $15, give or take a few. I would go back and see what all the semiconductor plays have done this earnings season. Right, go back and look at Nvidia. Go back and look at AMD, Qualcomm, TXN. Right, go look at all these, and they don't all do the same things. I know that, but they're all chips. So I would go back and look at all. And here's what you can even do. You go to Benzinga Pro, you go to AVGO, you go look at go to the peers tab, right? And go look at all these names and see how they behaved after their report. Should give you a clue. LSCC, right? Lattice Semi is a good. Corvo is a good one, right? Xilinx is being bought. Micron, right? ADI, Intel, Taiwan Semi. Go look at all the peers, see how they did after their report. That should give you a clue into Broadcom. Let's bring up my scanner tool, though. That's the more fun thing to look at right now. So top gainer of the day so far, to me, FCUV. This is what is this, like an IPO? Not an IPO. What's going on here? Focus Universal. What's going on with this? This is
this thing was just an absolute monster. We talked about this on the happy hour.
This was a stealth IPO. So someone asked earlier if Matt Hadman talked about this on Monday. I don't know if he mentioned FCUV specifically, but we have talked about this and this sort of concept, right? FCUV has come up previously. These sort of stealth IPOs where there's like no press or no nothing. There was no lead up, no run up, no warning into the IPO. It just happens and it just drops on you. So we talked about FC. I don't remember if FCUV came up specifically this week, but we've talked about FCUV in the past. We've sort of been waiting on this one for a while. So it finally happened, I guess. And Matt outlined how he plays these stealth IPOs on Monday on pre-market prep. So check that out. That was at 9:00. On Monday's show. Quebec is saying yes, he did. So there you go. So this is a stealth IPO. Wow, crazy move yesterday and continuing today. Though well off its highs. Overnight high $31. That's our bogey. $31. We're at 23.5 right now.
And really kind of a low float on that, so it's liable to move big time in both directions. Real quick, right off the scanner here, I see the two big Bitcoin stocks going, Mara and Riot. I don't see BT hitting the scanner yet. Let's check in and see how that's doing. BT also strong out of the gate here. Crypto, Bitcoin, of course, took out 50K. I actually said last night on happy hour that I expected 50K to fall at some point this weekend. I used the Seinfeld vending machine analogy in order to understand how that all works. Looks like we took it out yesterday. So if we trade up a little bit more, maybe 51K, 52K, it's going to be really, really good for next week. I expect to see some movement over this 3-day weekend in Bitcoin. So the fact that we're already at 50K is great. And clearly it's causing some of the other stocks to move as well.
Well, since you mentioned Bitcoin, I got to do our first crypto update of the day because Bitcoin. Hallelujah. Finally, Bitcoin broke out of that range it was stuck in. We got all green on the heat map here. Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin above 50K for the first time in how long exactly? It's been a hot minute here. Let's zoom out on let's go to my daily chart and I can actually see how long it's been. May, right? Mid-May was the last time we were this high in Bitcoin. So finally back on the schneid. That's breakouts for Ethereum and Bitcoin this week. So great to see. Green everywhere, though. I mean, we're not green in every crypto, but we're green in all the major cryptos. You go to Coin Market Cap here, you can look at just all the largest cryptos. I don't know if this is updated. Let's there we go.
Coin market cap is pretty well updated, isn't it?
I just had a refresh, so that's all. But you see,
all right, guys.
Yeah.
I just want to interrupt while you're doing this. Keep going, but I am long on X US Steel, long
Nice.
27 tenths.
X going to give it to you. So you're seeing green there all across the board. Do have some losers though to speak of. Thorchain, Arweave, which has been a big loser for the past couple of days. Perpetual Protocol as well. In the red. Smaller cryptos. But again, it is a great start to the month. Continuing on yesterday's Momo in crypto land. You'll love to see it. Again, get $50 in Bitcoin for free. Download the Voyager app. Use the code ZING, Z-I-N-G. Fund your account with at least $100. And let's go back to the stocks, though.
And real quick, Mitch, I'd love to hear the breakdown on the X trade, if you don't mind. What was the entry trigger here? What's your target?
All right, so I was looking for a little slight entry below VWAP. I'm going to go ahead and hold towards 26.96 here. Big thing is right out the gates, we did get steel to go green. Now it's going into the red, so it needs to get right back above VWAP. So this is one of those immediate gratification trades. If not, I'll go ahead and cut the loser.
So I got VWAP at 27.01 here. That's going to be your downside?
That's not where my VWAP at. My VWAP's at 27.16.
Again.
Okay. So you're 15. That's interesting. My chart, the charts in Pro are a little bit different than your broker.
All right, we'll see what happens here. Just want to point out some sectors like I always like to do, guys. Energy leading, utilities right behind it, consumer defensives behind that. And we're talking from the open. You guys know how I pay attention towards that versus just the change.
Yeah, we got green in every sector here to start the day. I want to mention quickly some trending stocks on social media via Swaggy Stocks. This is via Benzinga Pro, via Swaggy Stocks. Names like Alibaba, right, is your top trender this morning. Alibaba, GameStop, Skills, Chewy, Apple, AMC, and AbbVie, and Wish. I'll draw the line at Wish. Those are your top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are your top 8 stocks being mentioned this morning on Reddit. Again, Alibaba, GameStop, Skills, Chewy, Apple, AMC, AbbVie, and Wish. Baba is dipping here off the open.
Chewy actually holding in here. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Chewy actually holding in here. This is what I was looking for it to do. I think that if we actually hold these lows, we don't break any of the lows that we had from the plunge yesterday. I think we're going to be in good shape setting up going forward here. I think it's just kind of one of those things where the quote unquote bad news is behind you and we're ready to move forward here. We'll see if this materializes very, very early in the day, but I like what I see so far.
That was
MMAT, by the way. MMAT real strong out of the game. We actually popped right through a 490 spot. There was a big seller wall there. Took it in a hurry, then took 5, went all the way up to 512, I think, on this candle here. So I actually wasn't in this one. I was kind of flipping around. Highly shorted here, MMAT.
Someone asked me this morning, if how I felt about China, KWeb, right? The Chinese internet stocks, right? Because you see Baba, JD, Baidu, all kind of trading down from the open this morning, but all trading higher overnight. And if you zoom out, you see, the uptrends they've been in going back the last 2 weeks. My thinking is this, and I kind of said this already, but I've only got so much capital. Why would I put what I have into as big an unknown as this, right? Surely there are other places for my money, right? Yes, I owned KWeb for a number of years, but I can't stomach the unknown. Why would I? Yeah, okay, great. It's gone higher for 2 weeks. Great, right? It's off its low. It's rallied like $10, right? But why would I want to come in now and take the chance? And no, there are other places. We talk infrastructure today, right? We talk industrials. We talked water. Surely there are other places for a firm, right? I got my eye on a firm. There are other places for my money than China. I'm just hands off. I don't care, frankly, that we've had a good week across the board.
You don't want your lucky coffee?
Mitch, I love Mitch.
LK. Whoa, that's $13.
You see, bro? You don't want your lucky coffee, bro?
It's $13.
It's lucky.
Lucky 13.
Oh. No, I don't
All
want.
right, guys, starting to get a lift in X. Let's see if we can get towards our first price target, which would be past the 2740. That'd be first price target. I would take half off of that. Since this isn't the biggest trade, I'm just going to go ahead and look for a full out. But I'm just talking about if I did take a full position, it would be to take some off there at the resistance and then look for the breakout.
Hey, Yasin says SBET's going to 30. Why? Tell us why. I don't know SBET. So tell me why SBET, Sharplink Gaming. Tell me why it's going to 30.
It's just a gaming play with a lot of access to the gambling industry, but it's just like also SEAH. You got to wait till they actually start showing up on the technicals, because if the technicals aren't there, then that's what you need to be looking for. Just because story is there doesn't mean that the fundamentals and technicals match that story. I've seen a lot of people also talking about SEAH the same way, and you need a battle there. You got the chart up.
And you know what? And you know what though, Mitch? The same goes for Palantir. Somebody asked about how is Palantir under 40. Everything Mitch just said about SBET also applies to Palantir, right? You could be bullish on. They might have all the great news in the world, right? But as we said with Peter Tuchman this morning, all that really matters is the price action, right? And
100%.
And Palantir, for whatever reason, is just not in favor. That will probably change at some point. The question is, how long are you willing to wait? Are you willing to wait a year, 2 years, 3 years? Because it might actually take a while. It might not turn around this year or next year.
You know, and Spencer, this is one of the reasons why I say that price is the ultimate indicator, because the price action that you're talking about, if price action is not in favor right now, even if you like the company, even if you like the story, you're right. It may not work out and you may have to put that on the back burner or wade through some uncertain times. Price action is going to be your ultimate indicator all the time. Real quick on Snap here, one of the last times that we talked about this, if you recall, when Snap first made its big move out of the 20s, we did have the floating island formation. This was one of the better ones of 2020 because this one was a huge winner, right? We came back in, retraced about 2/3 of that move, and then we never looked back. And here we are 4 times higher than when that took place. Now, the interesting thing here is it looks like we have another one kind of setting up here, and it took a while for this to kind of get going. So it looks like we did bounce off the 74.11, traded up as high as 80, but really kind of pulled back in. Now, since then, we've kind of held this area, and we've traded back above that 74.11 number. So I think, to me, it looks like this chart wants to make another run towards 80s here. You might be able to capture this with calls. I've traded Snap a little bit in the past. Not my thing right here, but I'll be honest, if this holds in here and we get a kind of a strong day today, this might be something I look into later on in the trading day before the bell. It would be calls, by the way, calls. $80 calls probably in the October. Let's take a look and see what those cost.
Yeah, you do that. I think we just lost Mitch, but we'll get him back at some point.
Yeah, 80 calls, really reasonable. Huge open interest and nice volume today, and a 305 ask, 292 bid. So really reasonable here. This is probably the way that I would attack it. I'm going to put Snap on watch. No position yet. Have got no problem waiting for near the end of the day to see how this candle forms. It looks like we had Apple strong out of the gate here. Looks like someone was bringing up Chewy. Let's go check back in on Chewy. Where are we at here? We're doing exactly what I had hoped happened. We're kind of holding that low, and now we're kind of trading back up here. So again, same deal here. I'm trying to be disciplined. There's not necessarily a reason for me to take this right now. I want to see exactly how we trade here. This might be a head fake.
All right, traders, how we doing? Did someone take first profit? I would have taken it at least on my first little bit of that there. Up there now towards 2750. VWAP bounce trade. This is exactly what I always like to do. One of my favorite day trades here. And all I can say is
what?
Money, 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 money.
Oh, nice.
I was going to say, I was like, what?
Nice.
Money, 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 money.
Very nice. Very nice. That was good.
Money.
We're having fun today. I like that. I like me. I can't sing, so when someone else does it and has fun with it, I think that's
All
fun.
right. I will let you guys know though. This is my third day trade of the week, so I gotta just stick with this.
Oh, Mitch, come on, get that account
Hey.
above 25K.
You know what though?
Yeah, I think Benzinga should give us that account, right? Smash the thumbs up if you think Benzinga should give us a $25,000 account to trade with.
Oh man, and there's 4 of us.
Tongues out.
Might as
That's
well
all I
make it
gotta
happen,
say.
eh?
I don't need it.
I'll take it.
I don't want to sign on to that.
So here's a question from
We could share profits, share losses. Let's do this thing.
CCJ, wow, nice.
trying to find this comment in the chat. Okay, so the question about GILT, right? All right.
Sava starting to push off that 52 level, strong out of the gate here. Let's see how this materializes.
So there was a question from Daryl about GILT. They had good earnings, getting new contracts, but stock is sort of stuck here. I'll pull up a chart here so we can look at it together.
It's trading sideways.
I'll never forget. Very early on in my days at Benzinga, there was a stock that was moving. I don't remember what it was, and I was like freaking out about it. And I was like, guys, why is this stock moving? I don't even remember what stock it was or what direction. And Nick Donato, who used to be someone who worked on our news desk, took one look at it and said, he looked at me, he shook his head, and he went, "Sentiment, man, sentiment." And I was like so unsatisfied by that answer because that doesn't mean anything, right? Sentiment. But the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, I was like, I think he's right. It's just sentiment for whatever reason, right? It doesn't matter how many good headlines you have or how many even bad headlines you have. If it's in favor, it's in favor. If it's out of favor, it's out of favor. And that's not a satisfying response. I'm sorry. But sometimes that's just the way it goes. Sometimes it really just does take a while. Stocks that you think are undervalued may take a while to be proven right. Stocks you think are overvalued may take a while to be proven wrong. It doesn't help that GILT was that 25? How high to get? No, 22. It doesn't help that it was at 22 in February, right? So you've got some people underwater here. I don't know what to tell you other than that the news flow looks positive, right? Earnings increase, they're profitable, right? Sales good, revenue growth year over year is solid. 1 new contract, 2 new contract, 3 new contract, 4 new contracts, 5 new contracts in the last 3 months. Positive news flow, positive fundamental numbers. Unfortunately, that's not the only thing that matters. And I know that they may not help you feel better, but that's just kind of the way it is sometimes.
Spencer, your SoFi looks good. Pal says. I was actually looking at it this morning.
Wait, I don't look at this every day. Hold on.
It looked good this morning.
What do you mean?
It's holding the 13s.
This is my biggest bag. I'm down $6 in this thing.
Well, where did you buy it, Spencer?
2020, 2030. I don't know. Somewhere in that range. Somewhere in the $20 area. I don't know exactly.
You bought it near resistance, though. And then that's just, I mean, you were making an investment. I don't think you were trying to time it.
No, I wasn't. I waited like a month to buy it. So, you
were talking about it for a while too.
Get that off my screen. I don't want to look at SoFi anymore.
My man said, "Get it off."
I don't want to look at SoFi. I know where it is. It's in the teens. That's all I need to know.
All right, guys, let's see if we get my next leg up here. It's been holding the 40s here. So if it doesn't break out right here, I think it's going to crack back down to VWAP. And so what I did right now is I'm really close to setting a break-even stop price. Normally, I would have already taken half profits here. So once I take half profits, I never lose on a trade. Why? Because I start setting what's called the risk-free trade. Risk-free meaning that no matter what from this moment on, if it comes back to my entry price, I'm out of the trade. Reason why is at this point, the emotions can get pulled off. Now I can just say, let the trade work and sit on the hands. This is the important moment. I love to do this as a day trader, especially because you're looking for momentum to continue as a day trader. So if you do get into the right trade, a lot of the times you have to ask yourself, is this the time to cut the trade? What I do is I set a reward target. And from that moment on, Whatever I took, a third or a half, I'm break even on the rest and looking to get the full return as my reward target.
You call it a risk-free trade. I call it a feed-up trade, and it's
Feed
pretty
up?
much for the same reason. Because eventually, if you take a day trade and it works in your direction, and you take partial profits, like you were saying, you've kind of booked yourself some gains there. You have something to fall back on. So it's a lot easier to remove some of that emotion from the trading, and you can actually just trade your remainder piece. You can just execute based on whatever your plan is. So I call that a feed-up trade. Whenever I have lowered risk and I'm worried less about my trade because I've either already booked partial profits or the thing has really made a nice move up and I'm in profit, I call that a feed up trade. Sounds very, very similar to what you were just describing.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, for day traders, it's always about trying to find a way to take the pressure off. Right? Absolutely. Whichever way that works for you, try to find that. And a lot of that in trading is more along once you take that first pressure off, you can focus on the execution, like Ryan said. That's what it's about. I mean, if we can execute our strategies, that's what's going to get you to the green. I always talk about it's not the trade, it's the system. And what do we got moving, Spencer? What do we got moving? You got something, Ryan?
No, I was just going to say, just kind of looking in again at Chewy. One of the things that I noticed yesterday. One of the things that I noticed yesterday when this was selling off here, there were a bunch of people buying stock in the after-hour session. That's not my cup of tea for a trade. I've been burned on that before. So it's just not my thing. Those people were rewarded, right? You had a chance to get out on an initial pop here. It looks like we're kind of trading up again, just right at that 80 handle, which seems to be a key number for this. So this trade, this is an interesting one. Again, see this kind of back and forth that we're seeing here this morning. This is why I want to wait till later in the day. I want to wait until this flip-flop or the people that are scalping this are done so that I can end up getting a position that I feel a little bit better about. We'll see if that materializes. Chewy really looking like it's trying to push up off the lows here.
You guys want to know the most trending or most searched stocks this morning on Benzinga Pro? We got BBIG is your most searched stock, followed by FCUV, followed by Lucid, followed by Skills, followed by Support.com. Those are your top 5 most searched for stocks on Benzinga Pro. BBIG, FCUV, Lucid, Skills, Support.com. So correlated with the overall market, I would say, in that regard. Those are kind of your trending stocks of the last couple of days.
All right, guys. Netflix making a nice push on up. What a trade that has been, really breaking out of the weekly range. Now looking to get 600. What a move there, Netflix. So I'll give a shout out here. AB was actually talking about getting into Netflix. I hope he took that trade. I hope he held on to those options. But if we'll find out in Power Hour, I'll have to ask him.
Wait. And one of the things I'm noticing here, TCAT really kind of pushing up here. TCAT's starting to get some action today. And I noticed that we already talked about Bitcoin being up today. I'm wondering if the NFT plays are going to be in play off of this move in Bitcoin. As far as TCAT goes, 1425 here was an intraday high the other day. Looks like we're trying to take that out here. This is kind of an interesting one here to me. 1425 looks to be, there it goes. That's gone, man. We got 20 cents. That was fast, but we got 20 cents. Got 20 cents out of that one. Let's see where this ends up settling. I would not be huge volume on this stick here. I'm looking at the 1 minute chart. Let me zoom in here to the 1 minute. Look at the stick. Look at this volume stick here. Really kind of pushing above that 1425 level. Let's see if we build it. We're going higher here, folks. Watch NFTs today. Watch NFTs today. I was not prepared for this, but man, huge move here. Huge move here. Trent, TCAT does move weird. This is a big one.
All right, what I like about my X trade is the VWAP keeps moving on its upward path. That's what you want to see. You want to see the VWAP. It's okay to curl a little bit on the dip that you bought it, but once you bought it, you want to see the VWAP trying to push upwards. Why? Because VWAP also calculates volume. And right now, the average price of the volume traded is at 2730s. I'm getting it from a little bit better book here, but that's what you want to see. You want to see it pushing on upwards because that shows you that the volume is on the bullish side here. Let's see what happens at this rip. Now that we're getting through the 50s, I wanted to hold 40s or 30s on any pullbacks and let it come through that. You guys see my reward target there, 27.75. Next leg up, I see resistance at 82s. So I would put an order out once it gets to around 60s at 74, 73 and look to get out.
Yeah, so Ryan just mentioned NFTs. He mentioned TCAT, but also Dolphin and HOFV moving as well. So,
okay, so all of them are moving. I see here Happy Muhammad was saying Luke yesterday was buying 5 NFT stocks blindly. Pretty sure he's up on all of them. Spencer, is that what you were talking about? Luke using the company money to just trade whatever he wants? We should be able to do the same thing.
Right?
Being
Come
conservative
on.
with our own money.
Hey,
man,
I got
I'm
YOLOs.
just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there.
Well, the YOLO man's not here, but I got YOLOs too.
is Luke the YOLO man? Is that him?
Nah,
No,
Zunaid.
Oh, Zunaid.
Zunaid, the YOLO options trader.
They're both YOLOs to some extent.
I literally had to add YOLO options trade on as a tag for YouTube because Zunaid. And believe it or not, it's a top tag. It's a top tag right now.
Here's the kicker. If you type YOLO in your phone, does your phone auto correct it to something else like yellow? Or does it know YOLO because you type it so much?
I don't know.
That's the litmus test.
Does the phone know YOLO?
Find out. No, mine did not correct it.
Spencer, you are part of normalcy. It's wait, it didn't correct it. It let you do YOLO.
It let me do YOLO. Is that bad?
Nomad calling out a stock that I was going to talk about. Shop taking another leg up. This has been on a sideways consolidation since the breakout in the Qs, and this one made a huge move up when the Qs broke out. I was watching this one as it made a monster move. Now it's been sideways for a while, breaking out of the consolidation. And that's what you want to see when a stock makes the next leg up. The big thing is you just don't want to see a quick reversal downside. If it can go sideways for a little while, that's how you get that next leg.
It looks a little bit of head and shouldersy to me. Just a smidge. Right there. Little head and shouldersy. So
it's all about time frame. Go for the weekly. See if you see the same thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, you don't. Head, shoulder, head, shoulder.
I mean, it seems a little too short for me to draw conclusions off of that. I don't know. Shop looks like it wants higher for me.
Look at the monthly. Holy moly.
I don't know. That's just. I'm definitely long biased though. I mean, take that into account when I'm talking about these plays. I want plays to make moves up. That's where I'm trying to make my money. So, just keep that in mind.
All right, guys.
On these pieces.
Whoa.
Let's see what we got here moving.
No, we talked a lot about Apple in the past few shows. This was that whole vending machine thing that I've mentioned a number of times. Really took us a number of tries to get through 150. Now that we've done it, I think 150 is going to be your support. So I think for any long trade here, you can trade this against 150. As your downside stop. And obviously, you know, if we go back to that round number here, perhaps you want to loosen your stop so you don't just get flushed out. But this took a while, right? This was 5 attempts to really kind of break above and hold this 150 level. I think that we're good there. I don't expect us to start tapering anytime soon. So I think that this is risk on for the rest of the year.
Okay, we got every sector in the green except for communication services. And why is XLC in the red today? There's really only one reason, and that is Facebook. Facebook is dragging down the whole sector today. We're down 1%. And I don't know if there's a headline, I have to confess. But Facebook is not playing ball today for the moment.
Facebook gets a record $266 million fine from an Irish data regulator.
That's good news. Fines are generally good news because it means that whatever unknown is now known.
Yeah. Okay.
So fines generally are good.
I think that the market is disagreeing with you, but you know what, Spencer? It's early. It's early, so let's see what happens throughout the rest of the day here. If this catches a bid, you could easily trade back up and go red-green.
I would just say I was recently on Facebook for the first time since June of last year, and I was on it for like a couple of weeks, and now I'm.
Do you know how much they got for selling your data over those couple of weeks by chance?
Probably a decent amount.
Okay,
probably a pretty penny.
I have not been on Facebook since 2009.
All right, guys, big movers. Snap today. Snap on the upside.
Is that still going here?
Also, Spotify. I want to put that one out there. SPOT also. I mean, I could take a look at it. I'm just keeping an eye on X right here, but Snap. Look at Snap.
Yeah, and as far as
look
as
at
far
that
as-
beautiful
as far as
chart
the
there.
Snap trade goes here, Mitch, I think you can trade this against 74.11. What kind of downside do you see in that?
Right now, I mean, I have to look a little bit deeper time frame, but it looks like a good 5-minute VWAP bounce. Sometimes you get these 5-minute ones. Reason why also is there's a little bit of a bottom that it tried to get to 75.10. I think that's what you just pointed out, Ryan.
74.10. Yep.
74.10. Okay,
You
so
had
$1
75,
up
and you're
from
looking
that.
at I was looking at a daily, but that makes sense.
Yeah, just one level up. And so it came back to that level held. And now on that dip to the VWAP, that was kind of like your break level on the downside. So now I think if you just hold 75, you're looking bullish on Snap. Let's take a look at Spot. Spot is an interesting one. I haven't seen this one run since kind of the move there. So look at that. That looks pretty strong. Nice reversal there. Looks like it's trying to make its way towards the 200-day moving average, which is 275. Of course, that's going to take a little while. It doesn't mean it's going to get there today, but that's what it looks like on the daily.
There's a question. Do we think Lucid will test the low teens today? Well, let's see us take out the pre-market low first.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
I think
the pre-market low today was what is that? 1780. So let's see us take out 1780 first. Then even after that, what's yesterday's low? 1526. Those are my first two levels before we can talk about the low teens.
I'm actually gonna throw another one in there. 1725, which was the low put in on May 13th of this year. I think you're gonna get a potential bounce spot there too. I'm with you, Spence. I don't think we go to low teens today.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, Lucid's out of favor, but it ain't $5 down today out of favor. So
looks like e-commerce making a move back up. Amazon doing well. The best one though, Melly. This is why I love the laggard trade, guys. We saw what Shop make the first leg up, right? Then eventually Amazon made a leg up. If you pay attention to the e-commerce, this was the only one left that needed to make a leg up. I actually drew this line on the 10th of August. Look where we are now, a little bit close to a month after. Just even from that line alone, we're talking about a nice 20% up in a stock that is priced at 1,600. So, I mean, nice leg up there. And that's why I like the laggard trade. You always got to look for sympathy in the industries. That's why I do sector and industry analysis all day long. That's what I do. Try to find the rotations, guys, because if you can find where the big money's trading, a lot of times you're going to find multiple moves, not one.
Let's see what's going on with we got LAC is my top gainer of the day now from the open. LAC Lithium of Americas. Lithium Americas.
The Americas.
So
there's no north, there's no south, bro. It's just one place, right?
Yeah, LIT higher as well. So lithium trade seems to be on for the moment.
All right, guys, it's gonna start as soon as X breaks 2760. I'll start putting out my order to sell into the move here. Normally, no one would tell you this. They would definitely stay quiet until they got their sell orders filled, and then they'd be like, "Okay, yeah, guys, I got out right there."
Thoughts on Wells Fargo?
Wells Fargo.
If you want to come in and buy the dip today, I guess be my guest. This is one where I sort of let my opinion of the company color my opinion of the stock.
Yeah,
because like I just think that they suck as a company.
Me too.
I think Wells Fargo sucks. And I would never buy the stock for that reason, frankly. I mean,
I'll tell you what, real quick, I'm so glad that you said that, Spencer, because I share that disdain for Wells Fargo as well. First of all, I worked at two banks, and let me tell you, those were two of the worst jobs that I ever had, straight up. I won't even name the other banks because it's not really important to this. After that, when I had started trading, I actually watched the hearing where they were interviewing the Wells Fargo CEO. You remember that about the I think they were fees that they were charging. It was either overdraft fees or something like that.
And there was also duplicate accounts, selling
duplicate accounts, right? It was on upsells. And that was one of the reasons I hated working at the bank. They wanted me to sell grandma her third and fourth checking account so that we would meet our numbers. I knew that this is not what these people wanted. So I refused to do it. And as a result, my numbers suffered. That's a whole nother story. When I watched this hearing and I heard the quote that the upsell motto that they had floating around was, we want 8 because 8 is great. I almost threw up in my mouth a little bit. And I said, I will never, ever own or use a Wells Fargo product as long as I live, because that's how they treated their customers. And so to this day, I cannot possibly in good conscience recommend this stock to anyone for any reason. If you day trade it, good luck. Be careful. If you swing it, if you invest in it, good luck. I hope that you make money. I absolutely can't stand this company. I would never support them.
I'm with you. Buying the dip is working today. So if that's you, congratulations. But it's not me. It's not Ryan.
Yep. 8 is great. I'm getting sick to my stomach now. I am almost sorry that I brought that back up.
I got a bunch of stocks like that, Ryan, so I wouldn't even get started.
Oh, man.
Yep. So sometimes
it's funny. We all have our little quirks like that.
Sometimes, yeah. Look, humans are emotional beings. Sometimes you just can't help but let your opinion of the company color your opinion of the stock when they shouldn't. It's not entirely rational, but hey, I don't care.
And we saw that. We saw that with Hood. Do you know how many people hate companies that sell order flow?
Yeah.
And Robinhood is perhaps they're not the biggest aggressor of this, but they're thrown into the conversation. It was free trading for everyone. They sell your order flow. It's just there's a lot of moral stuff that goes into people's trading, and that should at minimum be disclosed.
All right, guys, I got something a teaching moment here for everybody. So you see right now, why is it not getting through 2760? So the big reason why it's not getting through 2760X right here is because of this seller right here at 2755. You see 2700 there. You see how it's a big bar on, and you see how the lift comes into here. So that's why, because the right now on the supply side and demand side, you're not getting enough on the demand side for the supply that's there. There's 2,800. You need this on the left side to start showing up there, like 1,800, 2,000. Then all of a sudden you'll see that seller get just hit hard. What I mean by hit hard is you'll see maybe 2,000 there. Next thing you know, you see 1,800, 1,300, 200, boom, and then the price breaks out. That's what I'm going to be looking for that seller to get taken out here. If it does retrace towards 2740, I would actually get out there, because the main thing is this is going to just go ahead and come back down to support if it can't get through that level.
Why is your chart all green? Sky is asking.
Why is my chart all green?
The market's green. The market's all green, baby.
Oh, he's talking about the volume at the bottom. I don't like coloring volume. Coloring volume gives you way too much emotion. If you see a red volume bar, you get, oh, that's red volume. There's no such thing as red volume. Volume is volume. Regardless if it's going plus side or negative side, I do not like color change on volume.
And so when you say volume is volume, let's talk about that real quick, because we are trading in a zero-sum market, which means for every buyer, there has to be a seller, and vice versa. So Mitch, I think that's what you mean by saying volume is volume. There's obviously going to be a debit and a credit to the different brokerage accounts, and that can determine if it's an opening transaction, a buy or a sell. A lot of that is not as important as the actual volume itself. And I think that that's what you're alluding to.
100%, because at the end of the day, when you look at volume analysis, what they teach you to look at is not necessarily the red or green volume. They're looking at total volume. So right now, 1.42 million shares, that's what I'm paying attention to. So on the buy side, we got 648,000, sell side 605, neutral 170. And so with this being said, a lot of the times, all I want to look at is kind of the expansion of volume, not necessarily if it came in on a red or a green candle.
Real quick, I want to answer a question here. The Postman is asking, Ryan, have you started using the Strat? Postman, I absolutely borrow tenets from the Strat and put them into my own analysis. One of the big ones would be trading reversals. That's one of my favorite things to do. The Strat prides itself on identifying those reversals and then trading them. I don't actually trade a full-on Strat strategy, but I've been watching this for so long now that I've incorporated parts that really kind of fit into my trading style. So to answer your question, I would say yes and no. I don't trade something that's Strat on its own, but that has absolutely benefited in me analyzing candlesticks and then determining entry and exit.
Yeah, I think, I mean, and you don't quote me on this, but I think the strat is always about inside candles, right? And
Yep.
kind of learning that strategy. That's actually something that is very popular if you look in technical analysis. Inside candles definitely means something, and you can use that to go off of. I know that there's kind of like that ones and twos kind of thing.
Yeah, it's basically a candle can only be three things, right? It can either be an inside candle where it's engulfed by the previous candle. I actually have examples of all of them on my screen here. The next one would be a 2, which is a candle that breaks out of either the top or the bottom of the previous candle. And the final one is a 3, which is a candle that encompasses the other candles. So what they're doing here is they're trying to identify the time to take an entry and being able to figure out which direction it's going to go in. And one of the things that the strat prides itself on is not that it's going to be right every time, because nothing is like that. It prides itself that if the trade doesn't work out, you're going to know why it doesn't work out. And the fact that you're going to know means it's going to be easier for you to execute a plan and then stay more consistent. And I think that's one of the things that people miss when they're talking about trading strategies. If you can get yourself to be consistent, that's how you turn profits in. How many times have we heard Zunaid say here, hey, I actually lose on 60% of my trades or whatever it is, because he ends up making his money on the trades that he does win in. And if you can get consistent at that process, you can start stacking profits.
That's it. While you guys were doing that, I took position in a firm.
Nice.
This morning. I don't quite know what this is for me, to be honest. I don't really know if it's maybe that's a mistake of mine, but I don't really know if it's. I don't think day trade. Regardless, I have a level to stop myself. I will sell if we get to. What was that low from the other day? Pull up on my chart. What was that low? 90, call it 90, 30, 90, 20, we'll call it 90, 30. That's a bit of a ways away. That's $7, right? That's nothing to sneeze at.
Spencer, I could not be more proud of you right now.
Yeah.
I could not be more proud of you right now. You are trading the floating island strategy. Can you please click on the daily chart? Can you please click on the daily chart?
All right.
Tell them what the floating island is.
Created a floating island. The price came back in, tested the bottom. Spencer just gave you the number. I got 91.39 on my chart. It's probably a little bit lower than that.
Yeah.
We've moved up off of that level, and now it looks like we're trying to take out 101.11. If we do that, we're going to pop. This is an ideal swing. Spencer, I am so happy that you did this. I cannot wait to see if this pans out. I think you're in real good shape.
I'm going to watch it. I'm not going to throw an order out there to sell at 90, 30 or whatever. I'm going to just watch it. I'm going to trust myself to watch it.
Mental stop.
Mental stop. Right. Mental stop. I probably should just throw out an order, frankly, breaking my own rule with that one, but I'm just going to watch it. I'm just going to have it up on my screen and watch it. That's the plan.
Bitcoin looks like it bounced pretty feverishly right off that 50K level. I see Skinny Boy in here was mentioning that. Looks like the buyers really stepped in on 50K. We're back up at 50,500 right now, but we did bounce right off that 50K, right on the nail.
All right, I got to take a second here to let the chat know. I'm disappointed in you guys today, right?
The number of likes? We're at 150.
I've been taking a live trade, explaining every aspect to it, even to the point where I'm telling you where I'm getting out. You guys do me the favor, smash that thumbs up. This is what we're doing this for you guys to learn from our process. Because at the end of the day, I mean, if we wanted to be copycat traders, I don't know, I'd be on some other platform. But what I think it's important, guys, is look at the process, how each of us are coming in it. And one thing you'll notice, isn't Spencer's process different than Brian's and Mitch's? There's a reason why. Everyone should have their own process. Right. The way that you take your investments is very important. And I think another thing is building up that decision-making skill, because that's what traders really are. They're decision makers. And it's not about that the decision is always going to be right or wrong. It's always in the probability mindset.
Yep, that's exactly right. So, Richard
And
Judge
Annie
says,
is really going crazy.
Richard Judge says he's waiting for a firm to go down so he can buy it.
Maybe
Richard,
SOS.
Richard, I thought about that, and I thought I'm just going to get in.
Yeah.
Don't get too cute.
I like that one. Ryan, take a look at SOS. This is a Bitcoin stock that I know is pressured downwards. Just went towards 287, which is an actual daily gap fill, and now coming right back up through threes. I'm going to be paying attention to this. There was almost 20 million shares traded yesterday, and that's about 2 or 3 times the volume, the regular volume in this. So paying attention to see what happens in SOS, see if it gets a huge amount of volume on a push up through 3.
This stock is no stranger to those big pushes that you're talking about. We saw this several times back in February of this year. Yeah, we were talking about this on pretty much on a daily basis on the happy hour when this thing went from low single digits, 3s ish, up to 15. So this is absolutely capable of a big move. Just be careful, know what you own here. I don't like this for a swing. I like this way more for a day trade. And then and real quick, I wanted to address some of the stuff in the chat here. It's all about you guys, so I'm going to try to address as much of this as I can. Real quick, someone was asking me if I'm from. Are you from Chicago, Ryan? Romy, yes, I am. I don't actually live in Chicago. I live in a suburb, but yes, born and raised in the Midwest.
Chicago.
Duncan Dave, Ryan, I have a number of calls with an October 15 expiration. I'd like to roll them forward in a date. Is there a rule of thumb on rolling them forward? Duncan Dave, that is an excellent question. So one of the ways that I actually like to do this is I call I'll often say I sold and rolled, right? So if you need a little bit more time on your trade, that's going to depend whether or not you want to sell these and roll these into an expiry that's further out. If you're up on your trade and you think that there's still some more upside movement, it might be prudent to book some of those gains and then also at the same time buy some of those contracts that are further out and a little bit higher expiry. A little bit higher strike price. The reason that I say that is because you might actually be able to keep some of the profit from the first sale in your pocket and kind of building up that buffer zone. Now it works a little bit different in reverse, right? So if you bought an option position and it didn't really work out, the stock kind of sunk, but you still believe in the long-term view of this, instead of selling and rolling it, I mean, it depends on what your initial position is. If you need that capital back, okay. But otherwise, I would try to choose a strike that's a little bit lower, right? So that's even easier for the stock price to move back to where you bought those contracts at, and hopefully putting those in the 1-to-1 appreciation ratio. I hope that answers your question. Let me know if you need some more clarity on that.
All right, guys, looks like I'm going to probably get my next leg up here. I'll definitely be taking some profit into this move. I got to go ahead and do some meetings here, so I'm going to head out. But I hope you guys enjoyed that VWAP trade. We'll see if we get the complete profit there. But like always, definitely smash the like for me. Check me out on Twitter, guys, Story Investors. Yes, you guys can follow with that. I'm also seeing solar still pushing on up. That's my industry, still calling it out for the next push. You guys know how I focused on gambling for a while. Now I'm focused on the solar names, and we'll see if I can get this final push in X above 2760s. Looking to take some profit at 2770. Original entry was at 2710.
All right. See you later, Mitch. See you on its back stack in 40 minutes.
Peace out, guys.
All right.
Later, Mitch. And real quickly, just to kind of piggyback off of what he was talking about with solar, I know it's not quite the same thing, but if we take a look at ChargePoint, this is exactly why I wanted to wait this out a little bit, because although the results were good, I suspected there was going to be some profit taking coming in here. I want to see where this settles before determining if there's going to be a new position to take. So again, this formation that you're seeing out of the open here is exactly why we wanted to wait. I suppose that you could have day traded this. I don't really see a great level here that this really bounced off of yet, but I just want to see how this shakes out throughout the rest of the day.
All right. Keeping one eye on my scanner, as always, seeing what's moving up, what's moving down, both from the open and in the last 5 minutes, and keeping an eye on the chat as well. Do I think BTC is going to drop? Well, I've got a vested interest in BTC not dropping. It's an encouraging sign here. Let me just pull up Bitcoin and in the pro here. We've been waiting for there it is. We've been waiting for Bitcoin to break above this range, right, for quite a while. There's really no other way to trade crypto than technically, in my opinion. And it happened, right? We finally broke above 50. We're at that level that we were at. What's that? August 23rd, right? Well, because the high that day was 50, 562, and we're right around there right now. I suppose I'm not the best person to ask this because I don't ever intend to sell my Bitcoin. I don't own that much of it, but I don't ever intend to sell it. So yeah, Jack Nicholson is right. No, Bitcoin, to answer your question, no, it will never drop again, ever. Of course it will drop again. Of course, I don't think today is the day, though, right? We just sort of broke out of the sideways action here. I don't think today is the day of that drop. But yes, of course it will drop again. It will always drop again. It's Bitcoin. That's what it does. Thanks, Jack. Bringing some perspective to the day. Tom Vigor can't find a locate to short FCUV. Yeah, that's part of the trade, right? That's part of the action here. No shares to short. Can only go in one direction. Here, let's make that a little bigger. It's a 2-day chart on FCUV. Unreal. Unreal.
Sorry to leave you hanging there. Just kind of going through Twitter.
No, it's all right. I'm just going through the chat. Here's a question that you can answer, Ryan. What time frame chart do you watch the VWAP on?
VWAP is going to be strictly for intraday day trading, so I often watch it on the smaller time frames. 1 minute and the 5 minute would be the two that I pay the most attention to. If I had to pick only one, I would say the 1 minute, but keep in mind VWAP is not like the most important indicator in my trading, in my day trading strategy.
Yes.
MMAT setting up here for a break above 520, by the way. This is a potential trade here. If you can break this, if we do snap 520, I expect a pop here. It's been real good volume. It's been real strong today. So possible trade here at 520 if we're able to actually take that out. If you're going to go a little bit early and try to get a couple of extra pennies, just be very careful and be ready to admit that you're wrong if it comes back on you. Sometimes when we get to these levels, they like to pull it back just to kind of test the patience of the people that are waiting for the break. But it looks like we're setting up for 20 here. 20 is going to be a breakout spot here. If we can do it. And again, this is the thing, right? We never really know ahead of time. We can only try, or we can only watch and do our best. So I don't know if this is going to break. I suspect if it does, you're going to have the ability to actually trade this for a little bit of a pop here. So I'm just kind of watching it.
All right. Les Ram is asking, could there be a sell-off today and tomorrow? We did have a hurricane after all, and it is September, the worst month of the year for stocks. Les, I don't think that's the question to be asking. Could there be a sell-off? Of course there could.
Always.
Of course there could be. Of course, we go up, we go down, we go sideways. Only one of three things is going to happen. I think that's the wrong question, though. And I think people that call the next day or the next week, I think are generally missing the point as well. The point is not will we go up, will we go down? The point is, if we go up, what will you do? If we go down, what will you do? That's the question you should be asking, right? If we do sell off, and I assume you're referring to the overall market here, the S&P 500, for example. If we do sell off, what will you do, right? It certainly can happen. It's hard to see that happening right now. I mean, where the trend is your friend and the trend is higher. We haven't had a 5% correction in the S&P since the last week of October, right? It's been almost a year. The hurricane that you mentioned, Les, it already happened, right? So I don't think the market will move lower on that. That's old news. That's yesterday's news. Could we sell off? Sure. Could we go down? Sure. But if we do, what will you do in that scenario? Do you have a shopping list? Do you have things that you will sell? Selling into weakness, generally not the greatest strategy, but hey, I don't know.
And you should always, on the shopping list point, Spencer, you should always have a shopping list ready because we don't always know when these are going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And you should always have that list of stocks that you really, really want to own should you be presented a discount. These are stocks with strong fundamentals, strong balance sheets, strong underlying metrics where the company is actually going to continue to be able to execute on its vision no matter what we see in terms of the actual market itself.
Right. I try. People always say, oh, I think the market's going higher today. I think it's going lower today. I think we're going to dip tomorrow. I think we're going to, go up next week. Okay, great. That kind of prediction is not really for me, because you can charts are like tea leaves. You see whatever you want, right? You see what you want to see.
Yeah.
So I'm not really into that. I'm not really into like if you're looking for someone to like tell you the market direction, then probably don't watch this stream because I'm not going to do that. Because frankly, I don't know, nor do I really care. Honestly, I don't really care what the market's going to do today, tomorrow. Because it's not about that. It's about what am I going to do? What am I going to do if that happens? That's what I care about. What am I going to do? What are you going to do if that happens?
Always have a plan. I stress it all the time. Always have a plan.
Frankly, and just to wrap this up, frankly, in my case, the answer to the question of what am I going to do, the answer is you almost always nothing. I'm going to do nothing. I'm not the most active trader. So, I'm not you. If you're more active than me, then have your own plan. Ryan's way more active than I am.
You know what though, Spencer? I'm actually less active than I used to be. And I did that because of lessons that I learned. As the market started to become harder to trade, I became less and less active. And I'm okay with that because the number one goal when I sit down at my computer is I'm going to protect my capital. I don't want to lose the money.
Yeah, the name of the game is don't lose money.
Exactly. And in some cases, the right trade is no trade. That's just the way that I feel. Really quickly, I wanted to address some things from the chat here. Stu was asking, I'm thinking about taking profit on Pure Storage today, ticker PSTG. What do you think? Well, first of all, it doesn't really matter what I think. As we were just talking about in our conversation, it matters what you think. A lot of it also matters on what your plan is, how long you plan to hold this, what your opportunity cost is with those funds, and then ultimately where your entry is. Let's say that you entered right here around 20. All right, you're up 6 points from here. That's a pretty good gain. If you don't have a long-term plan here, yeah, sure, go ahead and take those gains. If you really like Pure Storage as a company, I mean, it looks like we have a double top right here around 29. So if you think that this company is still worth owning and you really like the story, it's possible that you're going to have another kind of a push above 30 if we do in fact test that level and take it down. So a lot depends on your trade plan, your size, and what you can do with your money. If you're up here, no one ever went broke taking a profit, or maybe even sell partial. That way you'll still have exposure. The other thing that I wanted to go through here is Clayton Rockers is asking, how do you all play call sweep notifications?
Yeah, I was going to punt that to you, so I'm glad you brought it up.
I'm going to show you exactly how I use this, and I'm going to show you a trade that I am currently in because of an unusual option sweep. All right. So number one, when I'm actually looking at the calendar here, what we're seeing here is an enormous amount of data. I want to narrow this data down. One of the big things that I use is going to be volume over open interest. This is going to tell me if there's new eyeballs in that particular strike and expiry. We just finished talking about this being a zero-sum market and all of that. If there's only 100 contracts open at a particular strike and expiry, and then all of a sudden someone comes in there and buys 1,200, I want to know about that. That's interesting to me. And that's actually one of the things that just happened. So in order for me to find this transaction, let me first go ahead and find it. And then we're going to explain exactly how I processed this information in the hopes that you're going to be able to do that in the future. Now, 10B here. This is Tenable. This is a cybersecurity stock. So already this is a theme or a basket that I really believe in. So I already have that conviction going for me. The other thing, the other thing that I'm looking at here is these are all of the different columns that I have up here. I'm generally interested in bullish upside bets. So what we had here was we had an open interest of 102 contracts. There were 102 contracts being held open at this $50 strike that expires on October 15th. Then all of a sudden, someone came in here and bought 749 contracts at a price of 80 cents. This is only a 60K trade here. They only use 60K of funds to put this particular trade on. But it was very, very interesting to me. The spot was interesting to me. The chart is interesting to me, which we're going to get to here in a sec. And the theme was interesting to me. So the fact that this is only 60K is not a deal breaker for me. However, because this is so low, I need some other data points to make me feel real good about this, more than just the fact that this is in the cybersecurity sector. All right. So when I saw this come across the wire, one of the things that I did was I took a look at the chart. And so let's go ahead and do that. Here you go. This is we have a disconnected chart here. Let me go ahead and resolve that. Overview, back to chart, and you're going to have Tenable. Here's going to be your daily chart. One of the things that I noticed is that we're in a really, really nice pattern here, right? We seem to continue to make higher lows. $50 doesn't really seem that far off. Certainly seems doable by October 15th. So already I understand that this trade can pan out. We're talking about contracts that are only 80 cents a piece. This is not really going to be that expensive. And I get to define my risk ahead of time. So what I drew here was effectively a parallel channel where I noticed that when this actually took place, this was August 31st here. When this actually took place, I was like, boy, we're really holding this level. This is great. We're making higher lows. We're above the 200-day. We're in a sector that I really like. We're in a range that's been carved out, right? We had this big impulsive move. Then we had the corrective move. And now we're starting to take the staircase back up towards those highs. 58, 53. We break this high. This thing's going to 60 for sure. I also took a look in the news feed and I realized that there was a FNB Securities initiated coverage on Tenable with an outperform rating and gave it a price target of 60. Well, boy, that price target of 60 is very, very similar to the breakout spot that I found. So there's a number of different things that are lining up in this. Option activity was one of them. And when I see option activity, especially when I see option activity that has a high volume over open interest, that tells me that these are new eyeballs looking at this trade and that this trade is not over. So I went ahead and actually took these very calls. I bought some of the October 50 strike, the 50 strike calls that expire on October 15th, and I'm up on it right now. This is a nice trade. It's not going to move that quickly. If we look intraday here, we're having a great day here today. Yesterday we had a pretty good day. We pretty much traded up the entire day. The sell-off near the end was bought. We had some pretty good volume near the close, and today we're also pushing these highs. So we're only $4.50 off of the strike that I bought. I absolutely think we can go there. Hopefully that's helpful for you.
I think it was. I think it was. The option stuff, the options headlines, I still don't have a great feel for those, to be honest. So don't be discouraged if you don't, because it can take a second. But once you do get the hang of it, like Ryan does, you can see that they can be incredibly useful. So.
And it doesn't always work, right? This is a hit or miss thing. The great thing about options, you can define your risk ahead of time.
Yep. All right, Ryan Faloona, it's 10:30. You want to give us any final thoughts before I let you go for the day?
Final thoughts here. I mean, I just kind of want to see how some of these things trade. I like to see S&P's up. We kind of traded up out of the open. We pulled back in a little bit. We're still kind of trading up. Nice to see. Definitely want to take a look and see how ChargePoint does throughout the rest of the day here. We take a quick look here. We realize that we're still kind of lower than where we opened at. And then, of course, Chewy is the other big one that I'm going to watch. Looks like we've claimed 80 here. As long as we hold this, I think we go higher on Chewy.
Right. Ryan Faloona, thanks a lot, man. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
All right. Let's bring on Mr. Tony Benson to talk patterns. I am not really a patterns guy. I call them out when I see them, when they're super obvious to me, but I just haven't really committed too many patterns to memory. That's why we bring on people who do different things. Tony does patterns. That's how he trades. Let's bring him on. Tony Benson, patterns in a flash when he has a week going.
Hey, Spencer. It's pretty good. You?
Doing okay. It's Thursday, which means we're on the downswing, heading towards Friday, which is always a good day. If you can, Tony, share your charts with us, and we'd love to see what stocks and charts and patterns you're watching this morning.
Absolutely. All right. Screen number 2.
There we go. What chart is this?
That is open. I was just looking at that. This is
Open Door?
Open Door, yep.
Oh, man. I don't know how I feel about this company, like as a business. But tell me, forget that, though. Tell me about the chart.
You're not supposed to feel anything about it.
That's my first mistake. You're right.
You're supposed to just look at the chart and see what the chart says.
You're right. Anyway, Tony's right.
That's the hardest part of trading is keeping the feelings at bay, managing them well.
Okay, you're right.
So no, the thing I like about this is as we've talked many times before, I obviously look for patterns, look for a breakout, and this thing's been in a nice little channel. It's built this nice little base about 14, and then launched off it a couple weeks ago. And just yesterday, it broke out of that upper range of 18. So it looks like the likelihood of it running to about 22, as long as it stays above this 18 level, is fairly solid. So basically, it's just a simple breakout. That's all, and going to the next level. Which that's the interesting part. Not just patterns, and this is where I'm very simple. Is that the ranges that we get stuck in, like we see here, is usually about the next range we have. So the expectation is for it to go to about 22. So
22 on open.
And who knows? I mean, it could break above there and go crazy, but that's where I would look at it. That's where I'd either start to peel back some of my position, depending on what it looks like. I mean, sometimes it just takes off and runs. I mean, you can see back here historically, back in April, it did this. It broke above 18 and it ran there just in a few days, and then it turned over and tanked. So lots of different ways to go about it. So
Jude Height, I'm not sure if Jude is talking to you, Tony, says good call on Mondelez. Was that you?
Where is that? I'm not seeing that.
And MDLZ. Were you on? Were you on this one recently?
Yeah. I think this came up last week. This is Head and Shoulders. Another one that is. I still like the looks of. It's not officially broken the neckline, closed below it yet. So.
You know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start writing.
Let me get rid of that. Remove that one. So yeah, another one. This is a beautiful textbook Head and Shoulders. The only thing I don't love about it is the neckline here is sloping downward, which it's not a real steep slope, so not that big of a deal. But if it breaks below that neckline, then the expectation is for it to get to about 58.50, somewhere in there. So this may take a few days. I mean, this thing can move quick, as you can see a few weeks ago. So it could happen in the next day or two, but I think this is probably a week or two out before it gets down to this level, entry point level. So. Is that what somebody was talking about on the Mondelez thing?
Yeah, he says he was being sarcastic. So, okay, Jude, thanks. All right, what other charts are we watching? We talked to Open Door. Let's keep going.
Oh, we got lots. A lot of swing trades, not a whole lot of day trades. Just the markets.
Yeah, that's good. That's okay. Swing trades require a little bit more patience, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm not very good at being patient, but with the market extended like it is, the day trades have been a little thinner than normal. So. But yeah, American Airlines is still looking solid. In fact, I don't know if I deleted that, but a little bit of a descending triangle going on here. So if it breaks down, it's holding below this level of 20. So as long as it stays below 20, if it breaks down from there, then I'm looking for it to, and that's a big drop, $15. So, I mean, a $5 move on a $20 stock is huge. So be looking for a bearish move on this. Airbnb is a bullish one that popped out a couple weeks ago, but I'd still like to see it kind of dance around and hold this 153 level that it broke out of. It came down and tapped it, but I'll probably give it a few days, let it kind of settle in here, see if it does anything else. It could take off without me, but if it does, it does. Not the first time, won't be the last.
So wait on, stay there for a second. So
okay,
you want it to hold the 153. So you have no position in this, or do you?
Correct. Not right now.
Okay, and if it holds 150. So if it gets down to 153.30, right there, the blue line there, if it gets down there, that's your buy signal?
Yeah, anywhere inside this range. I mean, the entry point is here. I mean, obviously based on the 3-to-1, looking for a risk-reward ratio that's favorable. So my stop's 151.48. 153.30 is the support level. Right back in here, we've got some resistance, which it broke out of there. So now it uses it as support, which is already tested it once. I'd rather see it come back and test this and then bounce. That would be ideal. That'd be the perfect scenario, is to come back down and test the 153.30, get another test on it, and then if it bounces from there, I'd be more bullish than I am right now. So even if it gets close, I mean, these last few days, it's kind of come down to about 154. So if it gets below that 155.81 and then takes off to the upside, I'd get bullish on it.
Okay. We got Airbnb, we got American, and we got Open Door.
Yes.
Ooh, not one I look at.
Yeah, another descending triangle. Quite a few descending triangles lately. So, and it's funny to see. I usually go through about 200 to 300 charts on a weekly basis, once a week, and just looking for patterns. And a lot of descending triangles in the last week or two. So AES is another one that's similar, holding that line about 24, 25, 20, 24 quarter, 24 and a quarter or so. So as long as it stays below that trend line, then I'd be looking for a bearish position to the downside. Possibly even if it tests this line again, which you can see is very solid. It's been hit multiple times. If it tests that, I'd possibly take a small position right there on that trend line.
I just want to pause and address some of the Deuce Parker said in the chat. Tony, it says on the top of the screen that, you know, this is a paper trade account right now. Can you address why you do that?
Yeah, a couple of reasons. One is just legal. I've been at this for 21 years, and one of the first companies that I worked with had a bunch of attorneys, and basically asset protection is one of the key things. So the other thing is regulatory reasons. As I mean, you and I talked about that one time. There's people out there all the time, and I have seen. I've got friends personally that have been destroyed from regulatory reasons. So
every setup that you talk about right now, this is on a paper trade account, but you're actually making that.
What do you mean?
Like so that you just talk through a setup in Airbnb, right? You're seeing it right now. If Airbnb gets to your level, 153.30, you would go and buy it for real.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I can't say yes for sure because I don't know right now. But right. Yeah, do I trade funded account? Absolutely. But do I show that when I'm coaching people and showing other people? Right. No, I don't. I only show simulated trades. And most of that's for regulatory reasons.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. So there's two accounts here. There's the account he's showing, the charts he's showing us, which is for show. So he which frankly I understand. There's an argument for both sides. There's an argument like, well, you know, this is fake money, it's monopoly money. But the other side of it is, you know, now you can't really accuse him of talking his book or anything like that because he's not really showing us, you know, anything in his real account. So
yeah, no, I get it, and I have a dedicated trading machine too. That's what I was just showing right there. That's it right there. Right. So I have one machine that I use purely for trading. I don't do anything else with it. And then I have one machine that I use for coaching, which is the one we're on right now.
Got it.
No, I get it. That's a question that a lot of people ask. I get it all the time. Okay. So, and most of it, as you see, it's most of it's regulatory because unfortunately there's a lot of regulators out there that like to come after coaches like us. And if you've been around this business long enough, you know that happens, unfortunately. So, and you saw that article I sent you about the guy in California.
Yeah. So this platform, James, is Thinkorswim. This is from TD Ameritrade.
Yeah,
this is their trading platform. Okay, we got through a few. Let's get through a few more. We stopped at AES. Let's keep going.
Yeah. APA, that one I didn't like. It's not playing out. Oh, okay. Chevron, this is another one.
Chevron. Oh, all right. What do we got here? Oil and gas. What?
Yeah. Well, that line looks different than on here. I don't know if they just got different. Yeah, Chevron's one that. This is one I highlighted on the pattern of the week that I do on that vertical line and said if it runs up and tags that, we have that resistance line. This is similar to AES, right, where we have that resistance, that downtrend line that's taking place. And I figured if it hits it, there may be a good position to take there. And sure enough, it dropped from 98 to 95. But again, today it's up right now. So this is one I'll just be waiting. I'll be waiting for it to break through that 94.20. So if it breaks down, or if it comes back up and hits 100, which, as you know, 100 is a good solid round number. So if it hits that level and that trend line again, then I'd be looking at getting a bearish position on it and just put a really tight stop. But I'd just take a small position. I wouldn't take anything big.
Here's a question from the chat. Fidelity National, FIS. This thing is at support.
FIS. Let's take a look.
This is at support. I don't know if Tony sees a pattern or not, but all I see is we are like at support right now, like $1 away. That's what I see. So hold on to that, or else.
I'm going to use this. This is a platform I've been using for 20 years. I'm just much more familiar with it. So it's at support.
That's what I see.
So it depends on where you draw the support at, right?
Yeah.
It's always.
I'm going short term. I'm going like from a month ago. That's what I'm going.
Yeah. Well, charting is very, very subjective.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right. People see what they see.
Yeah, I heard you say that earlier. That's a very good point. It is. We see what we want to see, and it's not. That's one of the challenges of trading is we find what we want to find, and that's one thing I used to do years ago. I get into a trade, and then it wasn't working out for me. So I'd look for any kind of information I could, dig for anything that I possibly could to justify staying in a position and hanging on. Yeah, as far as this goes, I mean, yeah, we're at that support level, just a little bit above it. Where's it at today? FIS. Oh, it's down a bunch. So it's broken back below that support level. From a patterns perspective, I don't really see anything other than just that huge drop, obviously, and then it's just kind of danced here between 130 and 135. But now it's down. What did it say? It was at 120 something. So I would say this thing probably, if it stays down here, if it doesn't rally back up today and hold that level, we're probably looking about 123 coming back down and testing that level down there.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting call out today from good call, Jack Nicholson. I wonder if that's actually Jack Nicholson. I bet you it is. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, credit cards, all trading lower today. No, and to Jack's question, asking why, there doesn't have to be a why. It could be rotation.
Yeah. So people ask me, I think that was last week it came up, is what does the company do? Doesn't matter to me. give me a chart and a ticker symbol on a chart, and I'm good. I mean, sometimes it's important to know that, but
what do you see here? Anything?
From a patterns perspective, not really anything, but
yeah.
Trying to see, it's the first thing I do is go draw the lines on the chart, see what there's a major trend that's been in place since the COVID bottom that it is breaking right now. It's only been hit a couple of times. It kind of tested right here. It's gotten close to it. So, but that's still a pretty solid trend line, and it's breaking below that, which is definitely a bearish indication. Short term, we're breaking down. The next support levels looks like about 226. So I'd be looking at, if I was going to take a position in this, if it came back up here at about 234, with that, it looks like probably next week or two, this trend line that should, as long as it stays broken, act as new resistance. If it comes back up to 234, I'd be looking at watching to see if it rolls over, because we'll have 2 points of resistance, or if it breaks 226, which where's it at right now? It's not that low, is it already? Holy cow, never mind. Guess we should have looked at the real-time chart. It's already below 226.
Yeah.
Is there a reason? Do we know that Visa and MasterCard are getting hammered? Is there news out about them, or are they just?
There very well might be. Just because I haven't seen it does not mean that there isn't.
Yeah.
The fact that it's the whole sector could just be, to me, says rotation, but there could be a headline.
Yeah, and typically there's something deeper going on here when you get in a drop like we are today. So, yeah, we're down almost 6 points. So yeah, that's. The break of that 226 level is, but here's the issue the challenge with this is, where do you get into it? At what point do you pull the trigger on a trade? Because it's already, 220 is the next level that it will probably stall out at. It could go crashing right through it, but this is the next decent support level. So it's 4 points away, and the stop would be about 3 points. You can't even get a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio on it. And I won't trade it unless it's 3-to-1. So I assume MasterCard's the same, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whoops. How come I'm drawing a blank? What's MasterCard's ticker symbol again? Is it MAC?
MA,
that's right.
Yeah.
Drawing a blank. Yeah, I knew that looked wrong. Yeah, and that's the hard part about this, especially, I'm a breakout trader. I trade patterns, and this thing's already so far gone that where do you get in? Throw some lines on here as far as looking for major support and resistance levels back here. We're through there. The next major level I see is right about there, about 330. That may not be that bad. Let's see. Throw some numbers on there real quick. Oops. See if the risk reward can work or not. I guess I don't need that one, do I? We'll use this one for a target. 329.05. But yeah, that's I mean, looking at this, I mean, we're 390 just a few weeks ago, 342, and that's the challenge is how far do things drop before they finally bounce? And when are the shorts going to come back in and say, you know what, I've got plenty of profit, I'm going to bail on this thing?
Yeah, I'm not seeing too high a short interest on. Let me just check in the pro. Whoops.
Target stop is 345. 341.69.
Low short interest in both these names. So
it's right there. As far as for a swing trade goes, Oop, just hit it basically.
You know what's interesting is if you're looking at the space, right? Visa, MasterCard, AXP all trading down, but look at Discover. What's it? Discover DFS, right? DFS is just barely in the red, down 11 cents. Now it's on 5 cents. So DFS outperforming massively. I know it's
that is interesting.
Yeah. So you look for. You go around the sector and you look at all the names in the sector. You see AXP, Visa, MasterCard down, not Discover, not DFS, outperformance. Interesting trend, interesting divergence. Why?
Yeah, so why is one out of the 4 majors doing okay?
It's a good question.
3 are getting trashed.
It's a good question to be asking for sure.
That is interesting. Yeah, that'd be obviously have to dig into the news on that. So, but question is, do you pull the trigger on the trade on this thing or not? 341.69, target at 330. I don't know. We want to look at some options and see?
Sure.
I go fairly short term on this. Puts, we're at 340. Ooh, the question is, do you go a little bit crazy high risk or go a little more conservative? I guess it's only about 11 points, huh? 330 is a target. Usually when I go out of the money like this, I'll go longer term because I'm looking for the target, because when it comes to options, the most expensive premium is at the money. That's where the most time value is. So if I buy it when it's out of the money, it's not only cheaper, but if it goes and hits the target, then I'm selling it at its most expensive, highest valuation. So that's one of the reasons I love doing it that way is trading longer term out of the money. But this is a lot shorter term. This is only October. This is shorter term than I would normally do. But with the speed that MasterCard is moving, I think it will probably move quickly. So I'm just going to pick those up and see what happens. If we get stopped out, we get stopped out. It's right at the entry point. If it hits the 341 or 345.90, stop out of it, probably take a buck or two hit. Not that big of a deal. So
let's
interesting with Discover though.
Here, let's look ahead. Can you pull up DocuSign for me? They report earnings tonight. I'm curious what you see in that chart. DOCU.
Let me get back over to here. You see a symmetrical triangle.
What does that mean?
It's a continuation pattern. It's a bullish continuation pattern. So whatever trend we're in previous to the pattern, it's likely to continue if it breaks out of the pattern. And obviously the trend has been up big time. So should it break out above that upper line, then now we have what's called a measured move. Yeah, we'll go right there. This is where it's very subjective, like we said before. So that's the expected move if it breaks out above the triangle. So we'll duplicate that, throw it up there. And I'm pretty sure we're at all-time highs, right? Yeah. So obviously breaking out of there would put us at an all-time high. So the target's going to be about 335 if it breaks up. So right now that's an if, but this is another one of, so I think I said last week, Head and Shoulders is my favorite price pattern for reversals. continuations, symmetrical triangles by far my favorite. So looking for it to continue. So then the question becomes, at what point, what's the trading plan, which actually I like that just below 300, which is the other thing. As I know you guys talk a lot about round numbers, and I hear that, and that's one other important thing is if it breaks above 300, then the likelihood of it continuing up is pretty solid. So
a few more tickers going from the chat for you. Let's look at BTBT. This is a Bitcoin miner.
Okay. Yeah, that's come up a couple times, huh? Yeah, that came up back here when it was just getting ready to run. So, yeah, again, I don't really see no patterns jump off the screen at me like normal, or not like normal, but this one just is a lot of momentum. Looks like a huge momentum play. So pattern wise, I guess if it broke above that 1368, there's a little bit of resistance there. If it breaks above there, then I'd look for the upside. But as of right now, I'm not seeing a lot. If it came back down to this, I guess that's about 10. There's a little bit of support there where it dug in here recently. So if it came back to this 10.5 and then bounced, I'd be looking for it. If it breaks above 14, I'd be looking for something on that. That's all I see with this. I mean, like I said, I don't see a specific pattern on it, so that I just have to wait for it to break out of a specific level, support or resistance level. Hey, you know who's having a good day is Virgin Galactic Space. They dropped a press release at 9:30 and highlighting their first commercial research mission. Did they put a date on this? Let me check here. I'm going through the release. You do that. I see somebody looking for Tesla, so I'm going to bring that up real quick.
Yeah. Take a look at Tesla for us. I don't see a date on this. No, I don't see a date on this launch.
Well, that's no longer valid. It's been a while. It's in a good looking uptrend in the short term.
I haven't looked at Tesla for a little bit here. It's probably been over a week, probably 2 weeks since I looked at Tesla. How was Tesla? Oh, it's just steadily going higher.
Yeah, we got a little ascending triangle that it just broke out of essentially to the upside. The next level, 779, or 779, 800 could be in anywhere in that range. So it doesn't look too bad from a bullish standpoint. There's Lucid. That's the other electric car company, right? We were talking about that the other day.
It's one of many, man. One of many.
Yeah, I just drove by the other day on the south end of Seattle. There's a new car dealership going up. When I saw Lucid, I went, oh, okay. That was interesting. I mean, I've seen the stock before. I didn't know they were bringing them here, but I don't pay that close attention to where they're moving their shop. So
I think they're only in California right now. I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, Tesla's everywhere up here, so
Tesla's everywhere. I see more.
Yeah.
I see Tesla probably, 4 days a week on the road.
Yeah.
4 to 5 days that I come into work. 4 days a week. I see a Tesla.
I don't know if we want to trade a plan on. What was the other one we were looking at?
Space.
What is it again? Give me the ticker.
SPCE.
SPCE, that's right. Little bit crazy, it looks like. Up and down a lot. Just looking for major. The first thing I do is look for major support or resistance levels.
Anything jump out?
Not as far as patterns, not really. I mean, it's just, I guess you maybe call that a double bottom. It's a little bit of a stretch. But it does have some support there. It looks like about 25, which is another nice round number. So wouldn't be surprised if it does continue higher to see it run back up to that $33, $34, $35 level. And we had a nice little push yesterday. What's it doing today? Because obviously that changes things quickly. Oh, it's moving higher already. It's at 28. So the question then becomes, if it looks bullish right now, how's the volume? The volume's actually pretty solid for what time of the day it is. Question then becomes risk reward, because this thing is looking bullish. Is there risk reward there? And we're already right there. I guess you could use this as a new level above 2860. There's a little bit of what was support there before it popped. This is where it gets tricky, and like you say, seeing what you want to see instead of what is really there. And that's where this is kind of getting a little. I've learned the hard way not to not to do that. Take it as it comes instead of what you want it to be.
Yeah, they had this press release and where they talked about their next launch, but I didn't see a date on that, so I guess TBD on that. All right, guys, Tony Benson, you can find his site, patternsinaflash.com is where he's at. Check him out there. Joins us every Thursday. Tony, pleasure as always. We try to hit as many charts as I can. We'll hit more next week. Actually, I'll be out next week, so we'll have to figure out what we do for this time of day. But
Okay.
I'll let you know. Tony, have a good one.
Thanks, Spencer.
All right. That'll be a wrap for me here. Just one quick mention again that today's show is brought to you one more time by VinoVest. Invest in wine. It is an uncorrelated asset to the S&P. VinoVest is a platform that democratizes access to wine. It has outperformed the S&P. It is not correlated to the S&P, and it is a good hedge against inflation. So good, check out VinoVest, VINOVEST.co.co. Call them up, speak to one of the representatives, go to the site, check it out, find out how you can invest in wine. Add that to your portfolio. Thanks to Tony for stopping by today. Thanks to Ryan. Thanks to Mitch. Thanks to all of you in our chat. Please remember, all of the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes, not for investing or trading advice. SPAX Attack is going to be live right now. Today they're talking to the CEO of E2 Open. We're talking supply chain, B2B supply chain. We're talking to Michael Farlekes. He's the CEO. Ticker is ETWO. On that, we're talking about also SPACs that could run up 5 times, maybe. So SPAC Attack live right now. I'm going to hop off, everyone. Stay green today. Stay filled. I will see you guys later.